Hello, 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 hello. Welcome in to the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures from right here in the Impact Power Sports studio. Impact Power Sports online at impactpowersportsmi.com. In fact, I will be at Impact Power Sports for their open house. They're like under new management or something like that. I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Can you come out easy? I'm like, well, of course. Yeah, I would give me one of those side-by-sides. I might end up leaving with one of them. They are on 14 Mile Road in Rockford, Michigan. ImpactPowerSportsMI.com. Side-by-sides, motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, four-wheelers. Some of those are the same, I know. E-bikes, motorcycles, snowmobiles. Ryan writes, my house is only 5 years old and somehow the shingles are curling. FML. Really? That's weird. Maureen says, I'll be in Rockford. I'll be in Rockford tomorrow. Yeah, this isn't until November 2nd, unfortunately. Maybe I misspoke, but this is coming up November 2nd. Chris says, yeah, easy. Get one of those, and then we can meet on the Death Dunes at Silver Lake. And Chris says, Maureen may be rescuing Rick's dogs tomorrow. Rick's dogs are in no danger. I don't know why, how that came out. I think it came out because Rick said on the show, I beat dogs. But he doesn't really beat dogs. Okay? I don't know what I have to say to make you hell-raising hens realize that. Quit being dumb bitches is what I'm telling you. My God. Do you think I would have anything to do with a guy who beats dogs? God damn. Jimmy is here. He has sent me the film Blood Moon. All right. I cannot wait to review it. And we will have it coming up for you in following days. Linda has taken this poorly, and she wrote, fuck off. Oh, no. Jesus Christ, way to put me in a shitty mood. Oh, for God's sake. No, I was kidding. It wasn't that big of a deal. I don't take it poorly. It's kind of par for the course for me. That's kind of how I roll. Come on now. You can't really, Maureen says, read it in Linda voice, Eric. Oh, fuck off! Jesus Christ! Way to put me in a shitty mood! There's nothing to be in a shitty mood about. You're not beating dogs. You're not a dog beater. Come on now. Cheer up, Buttercup. God damn. Maureen writes, he disciplines them. I know what he means. Well, now you don't. I mean, you'd have to actually see it with your own eyes. I don't, I can't say one way or the other. Linda is furious. She is so pissed. She wrote, well, first in non-Linda voice, I didn't bring it up, yet I get attacked. I could give a shit less about Rick. Well, it's okay. Come on now. You can't sit there and take that so as poorly as you are, considering that for 1,400 episodes, I have done it the same way, and it's been okay to everybody else. You can't, just because you get beat up a little bit, you can't. You're not allowed to take it poorly. It's impossible. You can't do it. It's unacceptable behavior. She writes, "Oh, I didn't bring it up, yet I get attacked. I could give a shit less about Rick. Oh, God." Easy, Cheetah. My pals at Werner Roofing, you see them? I just had their image, their logo in the corner. They reached out to me because one of the Mexicans busted off. I've got a lamp, in the front of the house. You got one decorative. They light up, whatever. Light the night. After the job got done, it was destroyed. And I reached out to the gang over at Werner Roofing, who they just signed on with this show. How awesome is that? And you'll be hearing about them a lot starting next week. Thank you to Chris Werner. Thank you to Linda for suggesting Chris Werner and Werner Roofing. That's a good get. If you can take my compliments. I mean, I don't know. You seem a little sensitive today. You might go, "Oh, quit saying that. Quit saying thank you." Quit being nice. Fuck you. Linda's a little hothead. Maureen, has Linda ever been referred to as like a little hothead? Little hothead? Growing up, Maureen's like 50 years older than Linda. Was she like, did you witness like dad, like, uh-oh, she's a live wire. She's a little hothead. LIL apostrophe hothead. Maureen says our whole family has short fuses and hot tempers pretty much. Okay. All right. I get it. Yeah, I'm getting that right now. She's lashing out at me. Well, I am the least likely person to be lashed out upon. Everybody loves me. There is no one on the planet who has anything bad to say about me. All I do is spew the truth. And everybody loves it. So anyway, the Mexicans destroyed the light. And so I go, "Hey, check this out for me." "Okay, thanks." And the guy takes the light, and I don't know what he's doing with it. But then he calls me up because I've been trying to find a replacement light. And try as I may, I cannot find one like this. I go, "Oh, okay." And he says, "So pick out a new set of 3. You get new lights on this." And I'm like, fuck yes. These guys are amazing. So that's all I had to do. I can't wait to tell you more about them. Thank you to them. And thank you to Linda. We got to bring her back to the pack. You know how it is sometimes with somebody who loses, gets a little fussy. You got to kind of win them back over. And it's going to take some time. Because right now, I think she hates me more than Rick. I mean, everybody gets beat up. Well, most everybody gets beat up. Not everybody gets beat up. But when it happens, you got to understand. First of all, I wouldn't I wouldn't beat somebody up if I was really like upset with someone. Kenny says, "Wow, I missed an interesting start this morning, it seems." Yeah, listen to this, Kenny. You won't believe it. I'm sitting here doing what I've done for the past 1,000 years. All right? And just nice, relaxed Friday. And Linda, I brought up Linda again. And what has dominated the week with her and, losing her, my impression of her, like, oh, my God. And she actually told me to fuck off, Kenny. And it was very, very hurtful. And so now I'm in a safe space and trying to feel better about myself after this horrible assault by Linda. And I was lumping in Linda along with Maureen and Stevie and anyone else who is a dumb bitch who thinks that Rick actually beats dogs. And they all laughed, and Linda would... Kenny says, "Oh, yeah, you can't come with the F off comments. They never go well with Eric, Linda." Maureen was hoping you would have been here to hear it, Kenny. So she is encouraging you to go back and listen. Corey describes this pack of desperate women and piano finger banger. I don't know if that person is a man or a woman. I think it's a dude. He's describing you as a pack of whores. What a bunch of whores. Yeah, I don't know if I would go so far as to call them whores. I don't think there's been whorish tendencies on display. Kenny says, "I wish I had been a late notification this morning." Well, I mean, yeah, but I've gotten consistent in the last week and a half of starting on time. As you know, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, because the Insane Asylum finishes up early. Maureen says, "I love being called a whore." Okay? Something tells me that your husband, Teddy, does not refer to you as a whore. Brian writes, Eric, since Kenny missed the first part of the show, maybe you could just start the show back over. Don't want anyone to miss it. Yeah, you don't want it. No, you'll have to go back. So yesterday, Ben and Eric Patreon podcast went down after Who Are These Free Beers? Both went off perfectly. A wild conversation on the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast about how Kanye West told his wife that he wants to have sex with his wife's mom. And he wants his wife to watch him have sex with his wife's mom. How did this become known? Well, there's a chick that used to work for him that's suing him for showing him messages like that. He'd screenshot the messages and send them off to her. Look at what I'm saying to my wife. I don't know if Kanye West was always fucked up, but I think you really increase your chances of becoming a psychopath the more wealthy and the more famous you are. I think if you stay too wealthy and too famous for too long, you lose your grounding of reality. And you become like this entity that doesn't really behave like a normal human being. Not all people. I mean, like take Tom Brady, for example. With all of Tom Brady's success and wealth, he seems as normal as can be. I'm only basing that on what I see when he does the football broadcast. But he is really good at that. I love that guy on TV. I think he has potential to make quite a bit more money as the years go on doing that. And he's still a young man, right? What is Tom Brady? Maybe 44 years old, 45? Still can't believe he played football that long. Oh, my God, he's 47? When was his last year in football? I didn't know it was that old. His Wikipedia entry is so damn long. His last year was 2020. God, it seems... No, that's the Super Bowl. Last Super Bowl he was in was 2020. His last year in the league was 2022, I believe. God, he played for a long time. I remember when he came in as a backup to Drew Bledsoe. And everybody's like, oh, shit. We got this loser quarterback who sucks. And he ends up winning the Super Bowl, 2001. The rest is history. How many Super Bowls was he in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was in 10. And I think he won 5? I thought he won more than that. No, he won much more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He won 7. He won 7 Super Bowls. God damn, that's fucking crazy. It isn't until someone's out of the game and you actually look back on what they accomplished that you really start to appreciate what they actually pulled off. That's something. Rick says, have you ever heard about his 3 consecutive Hall of Fame careers? I don't know what that means. No, I don't. I haven't heard of that. Chris in Buffalo says, wasn't Tom Brady the last draft pick of his class? I'm not sure. Kenny says, I hope it's time to call Rick soon. I don't know when the last time I called Rick. Was it last week at this time? I think it was. Maybe it was. I don't know how busy the guy is. I mean, I see he's here, so he can't be that busy. Let's get the old dog beater on the phone. Oh, we might be in trouble, Rick, because your arch enemy, Linda, and she wants to kick your ass, buddy. I don't, she thinks you're an arrogant prick. I don't. Watch your ears, everybody.
Arrogant? How am I arrogant?
I don't know. That is not my opinion.
Well, I appreciate that.
I love you forever.
And I think I got to correct you. It's not just dog beater. It's dog and child beater, according to the audience.
Yeah, you seem to be taking this pretty well in your these assumptions of you.
Well, I mean, if I was actually a child or dog beater, I don't think I'd take it as well. I think it's comical.
All right, I've been trying, excuse me, to win them over. I think slowly but surely they are thawing, but Linda is just not having it.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily blame her. She's got an agenda.
Well, I don't know if she has an agenda. I just don't think that you're her cup of tea.
No, I'm definitely not for everybody. I was at a parent-teacher conference last night, and one of the other parents that I walked by had a shirt on that said, "I'm not for everybody." And I'm like, son of a bitch, I need that shirt.
So the Lions play in Minnesota. First of all, have I talked to you about Aiden Hutchinson breaking his leg in half?
You have not, and I do want to circle back to Tom Brady, but yes, that was a gruesome, terrible moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think they put him back together pretty well. Thank God.
They said it was a clean break, as good as it could be when you break your leg, and there's a possibility that he plays, in the extension of this season, if he might be able to make it back at some point in the playoffs, which is encouraging.
Did you ever see somebody who rushed an injury back and then they got hurt again?
Oh, yeah. You can talk about it with hamstrings all the time. I mean, this is much different than that. But, yeah, hamstring is one of those injuries that just don't go away right away, and everyone thinks that they're good. Breaking a bone, I think, is a little different. I think there's a lot of confidence there where you really got to trust what you're doing and, the angles that you're, stomping your foot in the ground when you want to make a turn. I think you really got to be confident in both your knees and your, previously broken.
Have you ever heard of a baseball pitcher named Dave Dravecky?
Oh, for sure.
So that was the guy who had cancer in his shoulder, and he had a good portion of his shoulder muscle removed. And then he nursed it all back to health, and he got back on the mound, and the lack of muscle was too much stress on his humerus, and he threw a ball to pitch on his big comeback, and he broke his arm in half.
On the chat, I think Corey's saying, I think it's Corey. He's talking about RG3. I remember that too. Yeah, he definitely was rushed back. I remember that moment. I think it was a playoff game where he turned around to try to hand off, and his knee just went out, and he landed on his chest and his stomach, and you kind of looked at him like that wasn't just falling down. That looked like shit gave out on him.
Oh, God. So yeah, hopefully the Lions will recover too. Hopefully they won't miss a beat. They're pretty damn good. Everybody's, I kind of hate it when everybody talks about them because I'm like, oh God, I like it better when they're more under the radar. But I don't think that's possible now after what they did to Dallas.
That was so satisfying. Just them beating Dallas's ass, Dak looking like shit, turning the ball over in the end zone, in the red zone. Oh my God, that was awesome. It's hard to avoid all the talk, and it's awesome, to hear them at the top of the heat. I saw a power poll ranking with them on top this week, which was really cool. I can only take so much of it, like, especially, watching ESPN. I used to be glued to ESPN in a previous life, I guess. But now it's like I want to get the highlights, and I can't take the minutia of every, just talking out every storyline and everything could happen. I can't take that anymore.
No, I'm right there with you. I avoid it at all costs. I don't watch the pregame leading up to any game or anything like that. If I do sit down and watch it, it will be when it starts, and then that's it. That's it at all. And, Tom Brady calling that game last week, that was big for a lot of people. He's very good at that, by the way.
Well, I mean, he's very knowledgeable. Have you ever watched a Romo game when Romo will predict the next play?
I always liked it. He gets a lot of shit now. People, for some reason, don't like him as much as they used to, but I still like Tony Romo.
Yeah, I do too. And I think he's good at the commentator thing. I thought he was a pretty good quarterback, but I think he's a much better commentator than quarterback. But when he's got a pretty high level of accuracy when he says, well, this is the down and distance. This is the tendency of the defense. This is what they're calling. And I mean, son of a bitch, he'll just about hit that on the head all the time with what is coming next. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. What else were you going to say about Tom Brady?
Okay, so there's I can't remember offhand. I'd have to Google it to find it, and it's easily Googleable. So, I mean, if these guys are sitting at the computer and they're interested in Tom Brady, it's worth looking up. I think it was either Colin Cowherd or somebody else. Anyway, Tom Brady, if you break his career down, he only had like a 22-year career. If you break it down into like 7-year segments, in one 8-year segment, obviously, you can make an argument for him having 3 consecutive Hall of Fame careers when you don't consider the other 2 segments. You can take his first 7 years and compare that to, I think they call it the Marino era, where he actually won a Super Bowl, and Marino didn't. Marino went to a Super Bowl. And he, as far as his stats and what he was able to do and the accomplishments, if you compare it to Marino, he qualifies or is actually a little bit ahead of him. And then the next segment of his career, I think they call that the Aikman section of his career, where his stats and his accomplishments equal or rivaled Aikman's. And then the last one is the Montana, where he equaled or rivaled the things that Montana did in his entire career in that 7-year span. So you can make an argument that he had 3 consecutive Hall of Fame careers. And now I got to preface this, and it's not really prefacing it, but I got to say that I was never a Tom Brady fan. I was a Drew Bledsoe fan. And when Tom Brady took over, I was like, well, that's great, but this isn't going to last. And Bledsoe's going to be back. And he just kept proving me wrong over and over and over again from what I expected to happen. And then, at the end of it, it's like, you got to look at what he did. 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 wins. Like, if you're not calling him the greatest ever to do it, I don't think you're informed enough.
And I think that the biggest one that did it was when he won it in Tampa, after he left. I think that is that's the true thing that shows that he could pull that off away from the team,
Yeah, and that was really interesting and awesome, I think, too, because he kind of cemented himself there, where he was like, you know what, I can do it without Belichick, too. And I got a ton of respect for Belichick. I think he's one of the greatest coaches. But, yeah, Brady went away, and he was able to do it without him. So that kind of raised his stock or his overall value a few degrees, in my opinion.
How gross is it that Bill Belichick, at 70 whatever years old, they're talking about a potential marriage to this 23-year-old.
Well, it's not gross for him. It might be gross for her.
What is she? And she's a knockout, too. She's really, really cute. She can't really be attracted to him physically, right?
Anna Nicole Smith?
Well, yeah, but, that was even more ridiculous. That was, you're thinking that this chick is just a gold digger?
I don't know her from anybody, but you have the same information I do.
Yeah, right. Well, she's got to be. To put yourself through that, that's tough. That's tough. My God.
To be a head football coach, to be a anything in the NFL, you've got to be, an upper level alpha male, right? So maybe she's just really attracted to alpha males, but at the same time, there's a lot of alpha males that are more your age.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's like Corey says, why isn't she going after a football player instead of Bill Belichick?
Yeah, right.
God damn. That is rough.
If she's not a gold digger, it's a surprise, I guess.
All right. Outside of kicking some kids' ass and beating some dogs this weekend, what's your plan?
Well, I'm having some issues physically with my knee. I had a day this week where I was on 2 crutches, and then the next day I was on 1 crutch, and then the next day I was able to walk a little bit. I need a new knee, and I've been too stubborn to do anything about it, but I've got a plan to have probably a knee replacement pretty quick. So that's
I'm right there with you. I'm going to the doc very soon to start that process.
Are you really? You got to get a replacement?
Yeah, they both need to go, but the right one needs it more than the left.
Is it arthritis?
Yes.
Oh, we're in the same boat then.
Yep. I can only put it off for so long. When do we get a new puppy so that you can start pounding its face in?
Well, I just had our last football game this week, so football season for me is officially over, and that was kind of the deal that my wife and I made, that we were going to wait until after football season. We had a little bit more time, and I think she's actually been sending me some links of some cute puppies, and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
As soon as you go home with one, so it's going to take like one episode of us going to Harbor Humane and coming home with the dog, I think. So I don't think it's going to be very long out.
When you're looking at dogs, do you take your fist and punch your open hand like, oh yeah,
You got to, right? You got to know what you're getting.
All right, sorry, I've gone about as far as I can with this gag. Okay. Well, real good as always. I appreciate you. Go see Rick at TC Paintball and play some paintball. So that's basically it. How's the axe throwing coming?
You broke up there. What'd you say?
No, never mind. Okay, I'll talk to you.
See you. Bye.
Ass Kicking Rick, thank you so much. He says, question, which one is the most submissive dog so I can throw it around? Oh, God. If Linda were here, she'd beat my ass. And I know she can. She strikes me as the type of woman who would really land a strong punch. Maureen is suggesting that she will call Harbor Humane today. Wow, that would be rough. Maureen says she'd mop the floor with you. Well, I mean, no, she wouldn't. She probably does throw a hard punch, but there's no woman in the audience that I can't kick ass on. Seriously. Knees over toes, Kenny asks. Knees over toes only helps so much. He says it definitely helped and prolonged things, but my arthritis is pretty severe. So there's no getting around needing the knee. But when I'm in recovery, I will be doing knees over toes to strengthen the muscles around my knee, of course. Corey says women are good at using their hips when they throw a punch. Have you been struck by a lady before? Has a lady punched you before? There was one time, Diana, she like balled up her fist and did like a hammer punch. You know how chicks do hammer punches? She gave me a hammer punch. I don't remember why she did it, but I was bent over and she dropped the hammer and bam! And I was like, oh. And we were very young at the time. I'm not sure what brought that on. I think it had something to do with me being shit-faced. Probably. I mean, I was a handful. This weekend, the EZ family supposedly is going to MAGA headquarters, this apple farm, to have like a MAGA apple picking session. This is the type of place that, like during COVID, they were the ones that were fighting for everyone's freedom. They were one of those freedom fighters, and they like wouldn't stay closed or something like that. Remember when that would happen? People were like, oh, we'll fight the fight, and we're going to stay open. And fuck you, Michigan. Fuck you, Whitmer. One of those things, which I don't hold that against them. You know, I kind of, I want to go to those places because I want to see how they act in the wild now that things have calmed down and COVID is kind of like in the rear view mirror. Tim says, why not get apples from Gunner? Well, Gunner is a commercial farmer. I want to go to the place where, you know, they've got Hayride and general store where you can buy like shit made out of wood that's way overpriced, and then venture over into Pumpkin Patch to get pumpkins, and then you pick the apples, you know, right off the tree. Chris says, goats to pet. Oh, yeah. You got to go to the place that has like farm animals, and they've got donuts. All right. And the donuts are so good at these places that, you know, everybody gets an entire package of donuts and just kills the donuts. You got the apple cider going. You got maybe some hot cocoa. It's fantastic. This is a totally Michigan thing to do. Smells like fall. There's like a bunch of Mexicans off to the side, and their job is to burn leaves. Becca Shea says, I like robinettes. You know, the family wanted to go to a different place, but I prefer robinettes because you've got the animals there. So maybe I can convince them to go there. That's another MAGA headquarters. And freedom fighters and like Moms for Liberty go there, and they like eat each other out in the silos. It happens. Benji says, don't forget about Uncle John's. Ryan says, easy leaving the house is never a good idea. The public is out there disgusting people. That's so true. Tonight, I have a hockey game. Tomorrow night, I have a hockey game. Nick says, go to the Red Barn Market in Lowell. My cousin runs it. Only if he's a freedom fighter. Is he like MAGA? Is he a dad for liberty? No one is more welcome at MAGA places than Big Fraud Zane. You're a friend of the former president. That's true. They love me. What the fuck was I going to say? Maureen says we took the grandsons to Uncle John's this week. Yeah, I've never heard of this Uncle John's. All right. I may have Griffin's tickets to give away. I've got these commissioner's seats. I've got 4 seats. They are the absolute best seats in the house. Okay? You're a little bit up the lower bowl, probably about 2/3 of the way up. Right next to the aisle, 4 seats. And I get them every year. And Pooh Bear may not have a need for them. Now, if Pooh Bear does not need the tickets, then I give them away. You'll know it on my Facebook page. Yet another reason to follow your old pal Easy, Facebook.com/Eric Zane fan page. I posted a promotional piece to check out who are these free beers. I post these on Facebook from time to time. It was before the start of the show yesterday. This is that post right here. Now, that is a very young free beer and hot wings. Look at that stupid face Greg is making. I don't know what it is. Even when he's just being silly, I really get the urge to just rearrange that fucker's face. I can't shake it. I think I have a problem. I wrote, oh man, you need to hear the passive-aggressive awesomeness from Greggy to our pal Hot Wings from the Wednesday, October 16th FBHW show. Easy and Ben break it down at 6 p.m. Eastern. Watch, listen for free with a 7-day trial at patreon.com/EricZane. This guy writes, why does Greggles look all butthurt? And the old pal Easy looks like he's got 9 inches of limp dong swinging in his pants. Yeah, I don't know what you mean about that. Are you referring to this picture? First of all, that's not me. That's Hot Wings. And I don't think he looks butthurt. I think he's just having a good time. This guy doesn't like me. He says, anyone remember how Hot Wings couldn't say anything without Zane trying to turn it into a show fight? Thad followed up with, anyone remember when the best parts of the show was Zane arguing with free beer and Hot Wings over nothing? I usually get no action on these posts. None. And very few likes. I think people don't, when I put these out, I just tell myself, all right, this is just an informative thing so people can know that the show is available. But more often than not, there's someone who gets pissed off at me because I do this. Oh, and the shit they say, you are so sad. You are so awful. You're a horror. They're living in your head rent free. Oh, God. Corey says the Hot Wings versus Zane fights got pretty epic near the end. That was the only way to include Hot Wings in the show. Ryan says, one of my favorite things about the show was how Eric Zane dominated the fuck out of those idiots. I really miss the Hot Wings teardowns. The stupid fucking things that they deserve to be mocked. Yeah, that was how I did it. That's why it's continued now with those types of beat-ups. It was so simple to just take the words they say and go, wait, huh? And just kind of deconstruct them and get them talking. Because too often, excuse me, those idiots bring something up that they don't even mean or don't even believe themselves. So to just point it out and say, so tell me more about this. And hearing it unfold on the air was just, oh, God. I always knew it was something great. And I had that thought more than once. It's like, Jesus Christ, my name's not even on the sign of this show. And it's the only thing worth listening to. My voice beating the shit out of them. That is an extremely arrogant thing to say, but it is absolutely true. It's so true. Ryan says, I think you could teach a master class in the art of deconstructing dumb things people say. It's honestly a great skill you have. I've never seen someone better at it than you. There is all you have to do is stay calm, be patient, and listen. Those are the three things you have to do. And then take your time while deconstructing it. Chris says they broke down the Hot Wings impression. Why is there a lisp the other day and never mentioned the inventor of that impression? True. I heard that as well. I have no idea why it started out with, hello. It's just the matter of factness. And the lisp just happened to work its way in. It was merely an accident. A lot of times when I do impressions of people, they don't sound anything like the person. Case in point, Linda. You know, right now she's still huddled in a corner crying because I made fun of her earlier, but she'll get over it. That, you know, most of the impressions I did or still do, they don't sound at all like the person. Sometimes they do, but it's always just a huge exaggeration and a way to do a funny voice and try to say something funny when you do that voice. Corey writes, someday I think Free Beer is going to blow up on the air and go on a Zane rant and yell about, quote, about the Who Are These Free Beers show. I think he's a pressure cooker ready to blow. No, that will not happen. He might blow up about something else, but he's pissed off because of the show, which is a fantastic show. Credit to Aram for saying, easy, stick with your best pitch as much as you can. Okay. I'm going to say goodbye to the folks on Facebook and YouTube right now. Thank you. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. If you want this full show, it starts at 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern Time, Monday through Thursday, I should say, and 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live, or download the Twitch app and search Eric Zane Live, and you can enjoy the show live in its entirety and contribute on the chat and have fun with this group. So thank you so much if you've done that in the past. The audio podcast is available wherever you download shows. Just search my name on any podcasting platform, and there I am. If you want to say hello via email, please do it on the Shoreliners Striping inbox, eric@ericzaneshow.com. Shoreliners Striping, the authority on striping the parking lot or the athletic field in West Michigan and beyond, believe it or not. They will travel. And my Patreon, of course, patreon.com/Eric Zane. Try it out for 7 days free at patreon.com/Eric Zane, patreon.com/Eric Zane. I put north of 10 or 11 hours a week up on Patreon for you to check out. It's plenty of content between the free podcast and that podcast platform. I have a lot of shows on there that I have, and I'd love you to check it out for free. You got to put in a payment form, but simply sign up, put in your payment form, and cancel it, and then enjoy your 7 days risk-free. At the end of the 7 days, it will not charge you if you've canceled it. Well, then you're like, well, what happens if I like it after the 7 days? Well, just sign up again and enable your credit card that's on file. We keep it on file. You just have to approve it. And once you approve it, it'll charge you $5 a month for the audio or $10 a month for the audio, video, live streams. If you sign up for 1 full year, I'm taking 10% off of the price for you. So if you try it for 7 days and like it, sign up for a year and it's 10% off. What is $60 for audio only is $54. What is $120 a year for audio, video, live streams is $108. It's a great way to thank you for your commitment for a full year. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. That takes care of the busy work of that. I'm now going to say goodbye to those audience members. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you